you were just telling me about Nick Aldis and you having that fight, and obviously you guys have talked on Powerrr, and you said it was the biggest fight you've ever been in. You guys did brutalize each other. You were all over the building. The chase will never be the same because of the two of you fighting it out in that ballroom. But then to come back from that, you get the victory, you get the championship, and on NWA Powerrr, Nick Aldis comes out and is, from everything we've seen leading up into this moment, he's a more somber Nick Aldis, a more reflective Nick Aldis.
Nick has a lot of pride in the NWA, and he has a lot of pride in being world champion. And he wanted to make sure that if I was going to be the guy to beat him, that he, to a certain extent, wanted to make sure I was the right guy. Like, he made me fight for every inch, every second. He made me earn everything that I had out there, and the world title. At that point, I think I had earned his respect in the ring and earned my place, where he felt as if, yes, you are the next guy. You know what I mean? And it takes a lot. It takes what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of fortitude for a man to understand. Okay, like, I've been beaten. You beat me. And he, like a man, he walked out there in front of everybody the same way he did when he was gloating and telling everybody he was the best in the world. He walked out there like a man, and he looked everybody in the eye, and he told them exactly how he felt.
So out of the frying pan into the fire. I didn't even mean to use that term, but there we go. We're into the fire here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so the thing is that I think a rational person would look at this situation and be like, well, Nick Aldis lost. Nick Aldis is going to ask for a rematch. He's the former champion. That's going to be the way this goes. And no, we go right into Powerrr, and Nick Aldis is going to step back for a little bit. He's going to let you have your moment and let somebody else step up. And boy, is there a land grab right now in the National Wrestling Alliance.
Oh, of course. And it's something that I've expected. I've been preparing for this moment my whole life, man. And if I don't have people chasing after me, then I'm not holding anything worth it. You know what I mean? Like, I fully expected to, if I won, to be getting phone calls the next day. And I did, not only from NWA guys, from all over the world, people wanting to challenge me for this world championship. So I fully expected it. It was actually insane. Like, I was speaking to my wife the next morning, and I was like, the blood's in the water. The sharks are coming.
An obvious contender, it feels like, who has earned a title shot through the Champions Series would be Pope.
I would be an idiot to take that cat lightly. I mean, you know what I mean? Every company that man stepped into, he's ended up being a champion in one form or another. And the fact that I know Pope well enough, he doesn't rush into anything. Everything Pope does is very calculated. There's a reason for it. He's a very intelligent man, and he's one hell of a wrestler. I need to be prepared for him to come out of nowhere. And what I mean by that is, it's not that he's not gonna come from behind and get me. He's out of nowhere. I'm gonna not be paying attention to Pope, and he's gonna see that, and he's gonna execute his opportunity with me.
What's crazy about that too is that here, I mean, again, this past week, I mean, we could talk about that a little bit. You're probably thinking you got a little bit of a night off. You get to enjoy yourself in watching a slap fight up close, the best seat in the house between Crimson and Jack Stane.
Brother, like, the best seat in the house. Them boys, like, they took to a whole nother level, and I'm watching it firsthand. And they're just it's basically a big pissing contest. Both of them wanted to prove who the bigger man was. And I'll tell you what, watching both of them, I'm not sure who the winner was. Because I know I was the winner for a minute. Like, I was the winner because I got to watch all that firsthand. And sure enough, as soon as I'm having a good time, punches start getting thrown around.
Well, I mean, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because one thing I was going to tackle was the fact that a huge brawl broke out. The perhaps the craziest brawl we've ever seen on NWA Powerrr, just with person after person coming out. Everybody's got a score to settle with somebody. Part of that brawl spilled out of the ring, and all of a sudden you found yourself face to face with Jax Dane, who you know is a tough SOB. And I couldn't tell if you guys spoke words or not, but I'm just curious what was going through your mind as you're eye to eye.
Well, again, Jax Dane is another one not to take lightly. He's a former NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He caught me off guard out there because everybody's throwing punches and bunches out there. And all of a sudden he turns to me and wants to put the scope on my forehead. I wasn't about to let him think he's going to gain any ground. And luckily for Jack's sake, Crimson's still angry, jumped on top of him, and Jax and I didn't have to quarrel. But he's another one that, like, he sees the blood in the water. Jax wants to be world champion again. And I totally respect him, the fact that he wants to do it. He just got to wait his turn.
With respect, you're saying he needs to wait his turn, but given the situation he's in, he doesn't have to. He can do the same thing Pope could do. That's
the spot I find myself in, is that we've only spoke of 2 of the 5. You know what I mean? They all get an opportunity. I can only get my ass kicked one man at a time. You know what I mean? So someone's going to have to take a step back for a second. But that's going to be up to them, man. I'm the one that's on top of the mountain. I'm not the one looking for the fight. The fight now comes to me.
Yeah, you don't have to look for it anymore. It's definitely out there. Just thinking about just that champion series. I mean, other guys waiting in the wings, or guys like, I think Colby Carrino was out there, and Scion, the mystery man. Nobody knows much about that guy at all, and he's out there with the title shot.
Well, how do you prepare for a guy you don't know? And there's no disrespect, but when you come out wearing a mask, I can't even go check past footage of this guy. As a wrestler, you do your homework. When you know, like with Nick, when I was wrestling Nick, I watched matches from his time in TNA. I watched matches in the NWA. I watched all of his stuff so I could be mentally prepared for what he might want to bring to the table. Scion, I got nothing. Like I'd be walking into that situation completely blind. But again, that's the weight of the world champion. That's the weight. That's the same weight that guys like Harley Race, Luthez, Buddy Rogers, Nick Aldis, they had to walk around with that same thoughts in their head. You just got to remember, I'm the world champion, and I'll kick your ass. So that's how it's going to be. You've got to think about Chris Adonis as well in there. Him being national champion, he has technically, per the bylaws of the NWA, the fact that he's national champion gives him the right to ask for a world title shot. Everybody talks about NWA being old school. We are, in the sense that we try to stick to the rules. And if we stick to the rules and go by the bylaws of all this, Chris Adonis is a part of that scramble as well too.
You know, Chris Adonis has got the #1 contendership just out of the national title, but another title that it's out there is the TV title. And perhaps, and I mean this with all due respect to everyone in the NWA, right now, this is a championship that might have the most exposure out of them all on a national TV level. Tyrus takes this thing out every single week and flaunts it. And
wears it like a bracelet.
You know, another special thing about the NWA is, you know, you want a bunch of cool, tough guys, and well, you got them. And so now those are all the guys you get. You don't have a pushover waiting on you.
No. And I wouldn't expect anything less, man. This is a man's title. Grown-ass men have carried this championship. Grown-ass men have fought for this championship. So I expect nothing less but grown-ass men. They're going to come at me and to win this. I understand I am on everybody's target list, but I'm at the very top of that target list, and it sure is nice to be at the top of that list. My favorite quote that I've kind of been carrying around and telling everybody, and I know it's slightly comical, but don't let the fat fool you, brother. There's an athlete in this body. That's the best way I can put it, man.
Well, and that's not the quote I thought you were going to pull out. I thought you were going to talk about everybody's.
Oh, okay. No, okay. Or like my new T-shirt on
There
collar
you
and elbow that's recently come out.
We'll learn the champ on self-promotion.
Yeah, my new shirt that's come out. The statement is, everybody's a tough guy until you meet one, and that's a mantra that I've carried around my whole life. Legitimately, it says on the bottom Trevor Murdoch, and it's a shoot quote, man. That's just it's how I live my life. Everybody wants to, gets fired up and wants to get angry and thinks they're a badass until they meet a real badass, and then they question their decision-making process.
But that's the thing. These guys, I want to make sure I'm clear. Every single one of these guys that we're talking about that are big, bad, tough men, they're coming for that championship, but they need to know, and I'm sure at this point, even Nick Aldis would be sure to tell them as well, you think you're a tough guy. Well, you're also about to meet one.
Right. That's right, man. That's how it is, man. I am going to make sure that anytime that this championship's on the line, I'm going to give everything I have. Like you have no idea what kind of individual you're going to meet in the ring, because now that I've got it, now that I've held it in my hands, now that my children have held it, I'm going to be hard pressed to let this go very easy.